Welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about a diabetes challenge that is often on the minds of parents of adolescents and young adults, and that's alcohol and type 1 diabetes. So type 1 diabetes and alcohol, what happens? That's a mystery for a lot of people. And as you know, most drinks have carbohydrate in them. Whether we're talking about beer or mixed drinks or wine, alcohol has carbohydrates. And so what happens at first is that most of the time when you have a drink, an alcoholic beverage, glucose values rise because of the carbohydrates that are in the drink. But later there's a risk for a low blood glucose value. And that's because ethanol, or alcohol, is digested in the liver. And as you know, the liver has a couple of functions, actually many, but we're going to focus on two, and that's the liver stores sugar or glucose, and it cleanses the blood. And so it can't do both of these things at the same time. And when alcohol is consumed and ingested, the liver focuses first on cleansing the blood and then on its role with glucose management. And so what happens is when it's busy doing other things and glucose values start to drop, the liver can't respond by releasing those sugar stores into the bloodstream. And so there's a higher risk for lows. And this is particularly true if the more you drink. So say that again. Let's just simplify it and let's be clear. Initially, you may see higher glucose levels, but there's also a risk for lows 4 to 6 hours later, and again, that risk increases the more alcohol is consumed. So, what should you do as a parent? Well, talk to your adolescent or young adult. Talk with your child. Talking with your child isn't gonna sanction this drinking. It's not going to give them permission to drink. It's an important conversation that you need to have. And also have a conversation with your diabetes care team. They know how to talk with teens and young adults, and they can certainly provide some background information and some guidance specific to your child. Drinking buddies need to be in the know. So if your college student who's of age is out drinking, they need to have people with them who know they have type 1 diabetes. Being drunk and being low can be very similar. And so we don't want people to mistake a low for intoxication. That's when dangerous things can happen. And then finally, a medical alert is essential. We need to make sure that people can distinguish between type 1 diabetes and drinking too much alcohol. And the important thing to remember finally is that because the liver is busy digesting the ethanol, the glucagon rescue kit is not effective in this instance. So it's really important to prevent the low from happening rather than trying to treat it on the back end. I often recommend to teens who are feeling peer pressure, or certainly young adults, to volunteer to be the designated driver. Blame diabetes and say, hey, I don't want to drink. I'll be your designated driver. There are some tips. There's more information about this very important topic back on the mDAD website. Thanks for being here today.